Sports Love Media on YouTube. It is your guy, Sports Love, broadcasting live today, November 4th, 2025. We are going to do the college football top 25 picks, my perspective, and this is for week 11 games, November 4th through 9th of 2025. In this live stream, we will look at who is in the AP poll top 25. Yes, I am aware of other polls that are used to determine playoffs or championships. We will use the Associated Press Top 25 poll as the basis of our discussion this week since it has been around the longest. We will then look at the top 25 matchups. We will look at what Vegas has to say and is the margin of victory or point spread along with the over-under. If I agree or disagree with the pros, I will do the best I can to explain my reasoning. The point spread or margin of victory is what the pros believe the winning team wins by. The over-under is the total combined points the pros believe both teams will score in the game in question. After we look at the top 25 matchups, we will go into a segment called the Game of Intrigue. In this Game of Intrigue, I will find things that relate to both schools, which can be sports-related or not. Both teams are also not in the top 25. After the relation thing, just like the top 25, we will look at what Vegas says the margin of victory is and the over-under is. If I agree or disagree with the pros, I'll do the best that I can to explain my reasoning. So with that, can y'all hear me out there in YouTube land? Here is the top 25 this week for the AP poll. Number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Indiana. Number 3, Texas A&M. Number 4, Alabama. Number 5, Georgia. Number 6, Oregon. Number 7, Ole Miss. Number 8, BYU. Number 9, Texas Tech. Number 10, Notre Dame. Number 11, Oklahoma. Number 12, Virginia. Number 13, Texas. Number 14, Louisville. Number 15, Vanderbilt. Number 16, Georgia Tech. Number 17, Utah. Number 18, Miami and Florida. Number 19, number 19, Missouri. Number 20, USC. Number 21, Michigan. Number 22, Memphis. Number 23, Tennessee. Number 24, Washington. And number 25, Cincinnati. Here are the top 25 matchups this week. Number 20, USC versus Northwestern. And number 22, Memphis versus Tulane, which is scheduled to take place November 7th, 2025. All other top 25 matchups will be taking place on November 8th of 2025. And in that, you have number 2, Indiana versus Penn State. Number 5, Georgia versus Mississippi State. Number 8, BYU versus number 9, Texas Tech. Number 1, Ohio State versus Purdue. Number 7, Ole Miss versus the Citadel. Number 3, Texas A&M versus number 19, Missouri. You have number 6, Oregon versus Iowa. Number 18, Miami and Florida versus Syracuse. Number 15, Vanderbilt versus Auburn. Number 24, Washington versus Wisconsin. Number 12, Virginia versus Wake Forest. Number 14, Louisville versus California. Number 4, Alabama versus LSU. Number 10, Notre Dame versus Navy. Number 11, Oklahoma. That's all of the matchups. Number 11, Oklahoma. Number 13, Texas. Number 16, Georgia Tech. Number 17, Utah. Number 21, Michigan. Number 23, Tennessee. And number 25, Cincinnati. All have no game scheduled this week due to a bye week. So, and after we go through the top 25 matchups, I'll then go over who my game of intrigue is this week. Hello to you, Diamond Sisters Entertainment. I appreciate that. Thank you for joining me today. So now that we've looked at the matchups and look at who's in the top 25 this week, let's start digging deeper. First game we're going to look at this week is number 20, USC versus Northwestern. In this game, the pros favor number 20, USC, to defeat Northwestern by 14.5 or 15 points. The over-under is 51.5 or 52. Northwestern, in their struggle loss against Nebraska, lost in the worst way possible. Offense is below average due to losing the game, not scoring enough points, and very bad on the rush game. The pass game was okay but needs work. Defense is below average just for losing the game, but not for protecting the red zone, the line, or perimeter well. I feel the same type of game for Northwestern will continue this week. USC struggled to win their last game, but since they won, offense and defense were average. Passing is okay but needs work. The rush game is getting better despite not known for rushing much. On defense, there needs to be some minor stuff done that needs to be done to protect the red zone better. Other areas are fine. USC struggle is better than Northwestern struggle any day. And for these reasons, I'm going to agree with the pros on having USC to win the game, but I disagree on the margin of victory. My prediction for the game is that for the game that takes place on November 7th of 2025, USC wins by 9 over Northwestern, and I will go under the 52. If you don't like what I'm talking about, you can leave. I'm sorry. Yeah, well, anyway, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to be so harsh, but, some people are trolls and some people are just rude. And other people just really don't need to be in the room. So, let's see. Hang on just a minute. There's a train coming and I can't hear. You don't just come into one's chat room and just tell people to shut up. You don't do that. That's not cool at all. So, if you don't like what I'm talking about, you can go to another room. We're talking college football right now. Next game we're going to look at this week is scheduled for November 7th, 2025, is number 22, Memphis versus Tulane. In this game, the pros favor Memphis to defeat Tulane by 6.5 or 7 points. The over-under is 55.5 or 56. Tulane in their last game on both offense and defense had a great game. Rushing was flat, passing okay, and had its moments of hope, but that still too all fell flat. On defense, it seems like there was more issue with red zone protection than anyone else. Memphis has common denominator of 38, which is the amount of points scored in 2 of their wins. Memphis, despite the win, looked average in all areas of offense, with rush looking good, but pass needs work. In defense, it's average, but needs to work on filling holes that come open during live play. Tulane is not the best. It's not the best team overall in college football, but they have a way of sneaking up on you and flying under the radar and winning in spectacular ways. They can end football games in ways that's normally not favored to win, but yet they do. I believe the sneakiness rears its loud and ugly head in this game and will help them to win the game. So with these thoughts, I'm going to completely disagree with the pros on this game. Tulane wins the game as an underdog by 4 points over Memphis. I will go under the 56. All other games within the top 25 will take place November 8th, 2025. Anyway. Hello, Aldrich from India. I'm in the United States. I'm in North Alabama, United States. So thank you for joining me from India. We're talking American college football top 25. We now. So let's move on to the next game. Also, Tulane has really good special teams. I forgot to mention that, but they do have really good special teams. All right. Next game we're going to look at this week is number 2, Indiana versus Penn State. In this game, the pros favor Indiana to defeat Penn State by 14.5 or 15 points. The over-under is 48.5 or 49. Penn State is in the midst of losing season, which is odd even for Penn State standards. To put it simply, the whole team is out of whack. Offense in all areas, passing and rushing, is non-existent. Defense has their moments, but right now it looks like a Whopper burger that's good to eat, but yet not. Penn State is known for having stellar defense, just not this year. Indiana has been stellar in all areas of offense and defense. They're doing everything right and dominating opponents. Not really much else to say on Indiana. The trend looks to continue for Indiana. For these reasons, I will agree with the pros in this game. Indiana defeats Penn State by 15 points. I'll go over the 49. Next game we're going to look at this week is number 5, Georgia versus Mississippi State. In this game, the pros favor Georgia to defeat Mississippi State by 7.5 or 8 points. The over-under is 57.5 or 58. Mississippi State did average overall in their struggle win over Arkansas. Pass game needs work, and rush is okay on offense. Defense is slightly below average due to nearly losing the game. Lack of red zone protection and issues holding the line are their main issues. Defense lacks consistency, but seems to get somewhat better late in the game. Georgia in their game last week started off a good offense, but struggled late and barely won the game, so slightly below average offense. Defense had promise early, but seemed to struggle most of the game, especially late in the contest, and so below average there. They need to protect the line better, which they will in this game. I believe the struggles for both teams is real and will continue to play out this week. And for these reasons, I believe the pros on having Georgia to win the game, but I disagree on the margin of victory. My prediction is that Georgia defeats Mississippi State by 4 points. I will go over the 58. All right. So, no, I do not play football, but I've been around a lot of it over the years. I had a lot of friends who played football. So, Ohio is parallel universe for people that like suppositories. Okay, if that's what you think, then Ohio is a college and or university and state. So, anyway, I'll leave your thoughts to the Ohio thing. I'm not sure where you're going with that, but okay. Next game we're going to look at this week is number 8, BYU versus number 9, Texas Tech, sorry. In this game, the pros favor Texas Tech to defeat BYU by 10.5 or 11 points. The over-under is 53.5 or 54. Texas Tech was above average in offense doing a great job executing plays from pass or rush plays last game they played. Defense is average due to everything right with red zone protection and in the line and perimeter, but they do need to work on filling in holes quicker during live play on the field. I think the same trend continues this week for Texas Tech, but will it be enough to win? I don't know, and it's uneasy feeling. BYU is playing better than expected, and I believe the team as a whole on both offense and defense are slightly above average due to great performance with rush and pass on offense and decent red zone protection on defense. BYU has special teams that is hard to figure out at times until it's too late. I know the pros disagree with me on this, but I do believe BYU is the better team. So with these thoughts, I'm going to disagree completely with the pros. I predict BYU as an underdog to defeat Texas Tech by 6 points. I will go over the 54. The next game we're going to look at this week is number 1, Ohio State versus Purdue. In this game, the pros favor Ohio State to defeat Purdue by 28.5 or 29 points. The over-under is 48.5 or 49. Purdue went from terrible in football down to the level of the epitome of sucking as a football team. Offense is non-existent. Too many drop passes. The rush game does have moments of glory, but still generally sucks. Defense is so bad that you can give them a 30-point lead to start off the game, and they'd still find some way to lose the game. Ohio State seems to be struggling as season goes on. Yes, they win games. Continuing this week, slightly above average on passing. Rush is okay. Defense is doing decent job, but needs to protect red zone a little bit better. Everything else is fine. Let's face it, Purdue football sucks royally this year. Ohio State will take advantage of that and will win big. With these thoughts, I will agree with the pros on this one. Ohio State defeats Purdue by 29 points, and I'm going over the 49. Do I know one piece of anime? I do watch Attack on Titan. I've seen a few Naruto episodes, and I've also seen a few Inuyasha episodes. Other than that, I don't really watch anime much. I don't really have a lot of time. I'm really actively involved in sports, so I do not get a chance to watch that very often. But yeah. All right, next game we're going to look at this week is number 7, Ole Miss versus the Citadel. The Citadel is a team you don't hear much about since they are playing in the NCAA Division I FCS division. They have potential to do big and great things within their division, but not when they're playing a powerhouse like Ole Miss. That being said, the Citadel is average in all areas of offense and defense. I see issues in their passing game for offense, and red zone protection for defense needs to be better. Ole Miss has common denominator of 30 and 24, which is the number of points scored winning 2 games with 30 games and 2 games with 24 points scored. Offense is above average in passing and the rush game. Defense needs to work on protecting the line better, but everything else is good. No information is available for this game from Vegas on the for the thoughts of the margin of victory and the over under. So when this happens, I'm going to make my own prediction for the final score. So in this game of Ole Miss versus the Citadel, my final score prediction is Ole Miss 49, the Citadel 3, and that might be generous since an FCS team is playing an FBS powerhouse. Next game we're going to look at this week is number 3, Texas A&M versus number 19, Missouri. In this game, the pros favor Texas A&M to defeat Missouri by 6.5 or 7 points. Missouri is better than most expected to be so far this season. With the exception of a couple of hiccups, they are pretty good. Last game they played was an off day for them. They had below average day on offense and defense by losing the game. All areas need slight improvement to have a chance to win. This goes for the pass, the rush, the red zone protection, the line, and perimeter protection. I think it will help them, but not enough to win it. Win the other game, or win basically everything's on the line on this game. But let's see. Texas A&M is playing lights out, and it shows in all areas of offense and defense. I think minor tweaks need to be made to be more effective in rushing and better to protect the line. Everything else is pretty good. Not much else really to say on this game. Texas A&M is better than Missouri. For these reasons, I will agree with the pros on this game. Texas A&M defeats Missouri by 7 points. I will go over the 50 since the over-under is 49.5 or 50, and I'm going over the 50. So, yeah. All right. Let's see. The next game we will look at this week is number 6, Oregon versus Iowa. In this game, the pros favor Oregon to defeat Iowa by 6.5 or 7 points. The over-under is 43.5 or 44. Iowa in their last game was stellar on all fronts of offense and defense. The pass game looked better than I have seen in a while. The rush looked great with no issues. Defense was stellar by not allowing many points to be scored. Is this enough to beat Oregon? Yes, it's possible. In fact, I think I will throw monkey wrench in the game just to stir up conversation. More on that in a bit. Oregon on offense and defense was average due to minor issues on offense and rushing. None in passing, but they do need to hold the line better on defense. On paper, due to defense unusually strong for Iowa, which most people don't see or ignore, I'm going to go against the pros on this game. Now for the monkey wrench. I completely disagree with the pros in this game. My prediction is that Iowa wins as an underdog by 4 points over Oregon. I will go over the 44. The next game we're going to look at this week is number 18, Miami and Florida versus Syracuse. In this game, the pros favor Miami to defeat Syracuse by 27.5 or 28 points. The over-under is 46.5 or 47. Syracuse, oh how bad the Orange is at football. Terrible is likely the word. Terrible offense that can't run or pass the ball well at all on offense. Terrible on defense due to lack of line and perimeter protection. Red zone protection is so bad that a turtle has the best chance to hold back the team on defense than an angry elephant. Miami and Florida had below average day on offense with too many 3-and-outs. Defense could not stop SMU, at all. and normally at SMU historically was a weaker team. So below average overall. Despite this, I feel Miami and Florida is out for blood to avenge the previous loss, and they will be like hungry piranhas who haven't eaten in days that they've had for a meal. And for these reasons, I will agree with the pros in this game. Miami and Florida defeat Syracuse by 28 points, and I will go over the 47. All right, next game we're going to look at this week is number 15, Vanderbilt versus Auburn. In this game, the pros favor Vandy to defeat Auburn by 7.5 or 8 points. The over-under is 45.5 or 46. Auburn last week sunk to new low with terrible football play. Nothing could go right for the offense with a lot of 3-and-outs. Rushing wasn't much better. Defense was also terrible and had hard time protecting the line, the perimeter, and the red zone. This trend looks to continue this week. Vanderbilt last week did okay for playing a tough team. Due to losing, both offense and defense were below average. Defense had all they could handle, but was almost successful. In offense, the only thing I see that needs work is really the rush game. To me, Vandy looks better than Auburn. And for these reasons, I will agree with the pros on this game. Excuse me. Vanderbilt defeats Auburn by 8 points. I will go over the 46. Next game we're going to look at this week is number 24, Washington versus Wisconsin. In this game, the pros favor Washington to defeat Wisconsin by 11.5 or 12 points. The over-under is 45.5 or 46. Wisconsin is having a terrible year in college football. Wisconsin is playing so terrible that even the cheese factories want no part of this. Offense has issues in passing and rushing, and it's hard to stop a sinking submarine that is exactly what Wisconsin football is on offense. The defense is not much better. In fact, it's worse. Not much else to say on Wisconsin, but I think the trend's going to continue for them this week. Washington in the offense world did great last week in everything with passing and rushing. Defense needs to do better in holding the line, the red zone, and in red zone protection in general. This week, all areas should be decent. I believe Washington wins the game, and with these thoughts, I agree with the pros. Washington wins the game, but I disagree on the margin of victory. My prediction is that Washington defeats Wisconsin by 6 points. Special teams for both teams should keep this game close. I'm going over the 46. Now, the next game we're going to look at this week in the top 25 is number 12, Virginia versus Wake Forest. In this game, the pros favor Virginia to defeat Wake Forest by 6.5 or 7 points. The over-under is 48.5 or 49. Wake Forest last week did terrible on offense, both in passing and rushing, and was not able to get much done. Defense was also terrible or non-existent. Every area of defense had major issues, and it will take a lot to fix. The only saving grace is their special teams. Virginia is average on offense and had little to no issues in the passing or rush areas. I do think they need to execute plays faster to be more effective. Defense is average, but they need work on holding the line a little better. Virginia is a better team over Wake Forest. Wake Forest has been known to pull surprises out of the bag to keep games close when it really should not be that way. And for these reasons, I will agree with the pros on this game. Virginia defeats Wake Forest by 7 points. I will go under the 49. The next game we're going to look at this week is number 4, Alabama versus LSU. In this game, the pros favor Alabama to defeat LSU by 11.5 or 12 points. The over-under is 50.5 or 51. LSU last week had bad offense, especially in passing. Rushing was a little better, but still bad. The defense overall was below average, but it was especially bad in the red zone protection. Normally, LSU defense is hard to keep up with, but this year it's not good at all, even for LSU standards. Alabama had a struggle win last game. They played offense on both rushing and passing, started off good, then fell flat. Then, late in the game, had to fight hunger, gas shortage, and engine trouble, but got it done. Yes, I made comparison to an automobile and some of the functions, but that seems to make the most sense of how this game went. Defense ran on fumes most of the game, so below average. They almost ran out of gas with low with it being so low, it sputtered late in the game. It did not run. It did run out of gas and coasted for the win. Whatever works, however, it needs to be done to get it done. But they do need to improve on this. Alabama looks to be a better team this week. LSU does have trickery in special teams that is going good for them this year, but I do not know if it will be enough. For these reasons, I agree with the pros on having Alabama to win the game over LSU, but I disagree with the margin of victory. My prediction is that Alabama wins the game over LSU by 6 points, and I will go under the 51. Let's see. All right. Next game we're gonna look at this week is let's see. Yeah, the last game I'm going to look at, or the next game we're going to look at is number 14, Louisville versus California. In the game, the pros favor Louisville to defeat California by 20.5 or 21 points. The over-under is 50.5 or 51. California on offense was awful both in running and passing game. Defense was below average mostly, but still had major issues in red zone protection as well as the line and perimeter. Louisville was below average on defense due to almost losing the game in the struggle. The line and the perimeter were okay, but red zone protection not so much. They did hold it together in getting the win. Offense was average and needs to work to execute plays better and faster. Let's see. To be successful in passing and rush, Louisville is better than California on special teams, and that comes into play in making my predictions on this game. Despite this, Louisville is still going to win the game big, and with these thoughts, I agree with the pros on this game. Louisville defeats California by 21 points, and I'm going over the 51. Last game we're going to look at within the top 25 this week is number 10, Notre Dame versus Navy. In this game, the pros favor Notre Dame to defeat Navy by 25.5 or 26 points. The over-under is 56.5 or 57. Navy has a common denominator of 42, which represents the points they scored in winning 2 games. 31 is another based on 2 games for what opponents scored in Navy winning. Let's see. One other game involved 31 for Navy in a game in which they lost. In their last game, offense was below average due to losing the game as well as struggles in the pass game. The rush was okay, but not enough to help win the game. Defense struggled in all areas. I do feel that trend continues this week, but sometimes defense gets a spark that can lead to greatness. But sometimes it just doesn't happen. No, I don't think. Do I think that will happen this week? No, I do not. But I think it's possible, and everything is possible, but it will not be enough to win the game. Excuse me. Notre Dame offensively looks to be average, both rushing and passing. Defense is above average, but needs to hold the line better. Notre Dame average is different ball game away from Navy average. I believe Notre Dame wins this game big, and for these reasons, I will agree with the pros in this game. Notre Dame wins the game by 26 points. I will go under the 57. Now that we have looked at the top 25 matchups, it needs to be noted, number 11, Oklahoma, number 13, Texas, number 16, Georgia Tech, number 17, Utah, number 21, Michigan, number 23, Tennessee, and number 25, Cincinnati, all have bye week this week, meaning that there's no game scheduled. So, with that, now it's time for a segment called the Game of Intrigue. In this Game of Intrigue, neither team is ranked in the top 25. I will find things that relate to both schools. This can be sports-related or not. After the relation thing, I will do just like I did for the top 25. We will look at what Vegas has to say the margin of victory will be. If I agree or disagree with the pros, I'll do the best I can to explain my reasoning. So the Game of Intrigue this week is Houston versus UCF, and that game is scheduled to be played on November 7th of 2025. Both college teams are not in the top 25. Both schools are in the Big 12 athletic conference. Both football teams have at least 2 losses so far this 2025 college football season. Both universities have been around For at least 60 years, even if initially known as different names, both universities have strong emphasis on art, music, and environmental sciences. Now that we have seen how the schools are related, it is good to note the pros from Vegas favor UCF to defeat Houston by 1.5 or 2 points. Normally, this means it's almost too close to call, but they had to make a decision. The over-under is 47.5 or 48. UCF in their last game did terrible on offense and could not get anything done. I don't think that will continue this week, but we shall see if that does. The passer rush is decent. Defense was absolutely terrible due to poor red zone protection and awful line of perimeter protection. Houston was below average in all areas of offense, pass or rush, but did have times it worked. Defense was below average due to losing the game, but mainly due to poor red zone protection. The line and perimeter were okay, but needs work. Special teams is good for UCF, not so good for Houston. And for these reasons, I'm going to agree with the pros on this game. UCF defeats Houston by 2 points. I will go over the 48. Now, let's do a quick summary now, shall we? Basically, here are the top 25 matchups again. We have... in the top 25 matchups, you have number 20, USC versus Northwestern. Number 22, Memphis versus Tulane. Number 2, Indiana versus Penn State. Number 5, Georgia versus Mississippi State. Number 8, BYU versus number 9, Texas Tech. Number 1, Ohio State versus Purdue. Number 7, Ole Miss versus the Citadel. Number 3, Texas A&M versus Missouri. That's number 19. Number 6, Oregon versus Iowa. Number 18, Miami and Florida versus Syracuse. Number 15, Vanderbilt versus Auburn. Number 24, Washington versus Wisconsin. Number 12, Virginia versus Wake Forest. Number 14, Louisville versus California. Number 4, Alabama versus LSU. Number 10, Notre Dame versus Navy. And again, number 11, Oklahoma. Number 13, Texas. Number 16, Georgia Tech. Number 17, Utah. Number 21, Michigan. Number 23, Tennessee. And number 25, Cincinnati. All have bye weeks this week, meaning that there are no games scheduled for this week. The game of intrigue was UCF versus Houston. So, again, in summary, here is the AP poll top 25 for this week. You have number 1, Ohio State. Number 2, Indiana. Number 3, Texas A&M. Number 4, Alabama. Number 5, Georgia. Number 6, Oregon. Number 7, Ole Miss. Number 8, BYU. Number 9, Texas Tech. Number 10, Notre Dame. Number 11, Oklahoma. Number 12, Virginia. Number 13, Texas. Number 14, Louisville. Number 15, Vanderbilt. Number 16, Georgia Tech. Number 17, Utah. Number 18, Miami and Florida. Number 19, Missouri. Number 20, USC. Number 21, Michigan. Number 22, Memphis. Number 23, Tennessee. Number 24, Washington. Number 25, Cincinnati. Now, let's look at who else is playing in college football games this week that's not previously mentioned with no additional analysis. On today, November 4th, you have Massachusetts versus Akron. You have Miami and Ohio versus Ohio University. November 5th, 2025, you have Kent State versus Ball State. Northern Illinois versus Toledo. On November 6th, you have Georgia Southern versus Appalachian State. And then you have South Florida or UTSA. There are games scheduled for November 7th, but we've discussed those already either as part of the top 25 or the game of intrigue. So, all of the remaining games will be taking place on November 8th. So you have SMU versus Boston College, Colorado versus West Virginia, Southern Miss versus Arkansas State, Temple versus Army, Missouri State versus Liberty, Bowling Green versus Eastern Michigan, UAB versus Rice, Maryland versus Rutgers, Louisiana Tech versus Delaware, Florida International versus Middle Tennessee, Jacksonville State versus UTEP, Charlotte versus East Carolina, Tulsa versus Florida Atlantic, Duke versus UConn, Kansas versus Arizona, Iowa State versus TCU, Kennesaw State versus New Mexico State, Georgia State versus Coastal Carolina, Stanford versus North Carolina, Texas State versus Louisiana, Air Force versus San Jose State, sorry. Florida State versus Clemson, Florida versus Kentucky, Nevada versus Utah State, Nebraska versus UCLA, UNLV versus Colorado State, Sam Houston versus Oregon State, San Diego State versus Hawaii. And those are all of your games that you have scheduled for the rest of the week that's not previously been mentioned. So that there you have it. There's your AP poll top 25, your top 25 matchups, my picks and my perspective for those top 25 games, and the same going for the game of intrigue. Normally, we do these college football live streams on Tuesdays each and every week. Next week, being Veterans Day, that will be on Monday, November 10th, instead of on November 11th. I have some things I need to do on Veterans Day, so I will be doing the college football live stream on Monday, November 10th for next week. And after that, it will resume and be again on Tuesdays. So, does anybody have any questions, comments regarding college football that we've talked about today? Well, if not, I do thank you for joining me for this live stream today. Thank you very much. I do greatly appreciate each and every one of you. If you will, please hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the notification bell so you can be made aware of when I'm doing these live streams, when I have sports action videos, when I have sports education videos, when I broadcast live, or when I have breaking news in the sports world. We will have additional live streams through college football season, with the exception of next week and everything being on Tuesday and stuff. We will continue to do these live streams once a week throughout the rest of college football season. We will include we'll include regular season games. We'll include all of the playoff games and all of the bowl games through the semifinals, and then there will be a special edition live stream for the national championship. There also may be additional live streams that will come up, and when they do, and as soon as I know when they'll be announced as best I can, as quickly as I can. So thank you for the attention on that. Also, if you wish to subscribe to the channel, it is greatly appreciated if you do. You can do so in two ways. One, you can go to www.youtube.com, the /symbol, the @symbol, SPORTSLOV, or you can go to the YouTube search tab and type in Sportslov Media, which is two words, SPORTSLOV as the first word, MEDIA as the second word. You'll find me there when you know it's me, because I'll have Sportslov Media burned into a basketball as my avatar. I'm also on Twitter X, and my handle on the Twitter X account is at BobAmin16. That is the @symbol BOBAMIN 16. Thank you again for tuning in to this broadcast today. I do greatly appreciate each and every one of you. I hope each and every one of you has a wonderful day. So Sportslov Media signing out. Have a great day.